Episode 4 starts off with Vernon angrily saying, "You mean the giant of a man that gave my son a tail?" Question mark. Harry sighs and says, "Yes, Uncle Vernon, and his name is Hagrid." Vernon growls and says, "Don't care what his name is." Exclamation mark. Do you know how much trouble he caused us? He is not welcome here. Exclamation mark. Harry sighs and says, "Well, what if I had him meet me away from here?" Vernon says, "Fine, if it gets you out of here sooner then so be it." Exclamation mark. But mark my word, boy, if any of your lot step a foot on our property you will wish you were never born. Exclamation mark. Harry looks down and says, "Yes, Uncle Vernon. And for the record, I already wish I hadn't been born sometimes." Vernon growls and says, "Off to your room, boy." Harry says, "Yes, Uncle Vernon." He turns and leaves the room. Now at the Ginny says, "So Hermione, now that we are away from Ron, do you really think that these lessons are a good idea?" Hermione says, "Ginny, I think that these lessons are a great idea." Exclamation mark. Let's face facts, defense against the dark arts hasn't been the best taught subject at Hogwarts, and as I said before, like it or not, Harry Potter definitely is the top student when it comes to defense against the dark arts. Exclamation mark. Plus I can definitely see Professor Dumbledore's point about trying to unify the houses at Hogwarts. Ginny frowns and says, "I guess you do have a point, but it's so hard to just forget how big of a jerk he has been." Hermione says, "Ginny, when exactly has he been a jerk to you?" Ginny says, "Well, I mean he has been a jerk to my brother, and you know how Slytherins are." Hermione says, "Yes, I do know how most Slytherins are, and I know how most of us Gryffindors have been towards them as well." Ginny angrily huffs and says, "What is your point, Hermione?" Hermione says, "My point is it's time to leave the past in the past and focus on today." Ginny sighs and says, "Perhaps you were right. So where should we begin?" Hermione says, "Well, let's start by reading up on some spells." Episode continues. Now at Malfoy Manor. Voldemort hisses and says, "Draco, come over here and hold out your arm." Draco hesitates and looks at his father. Lucius says, "Go, Draco, don't make the Dark Lord wait." Bellatrix says, "Draco, you should feel privileged to be joining our ranks." Exclamation mark. Draco nods and says, "Yes, father." He walks towards Voldemort holding out his arm. Voldemort hisses and says, "You are now one of us. Don't let me down or there will be consequences. Is that understood?" Exclamation mark. Draco bows and says, "Yes, my lord, I understand." Exclamation mark. Voldemort taps his wand to Draco's arm, creating the dark mark. "A picture is needed." Voldemort hisses and says, "Go take your seat." "Now that is settled, I have a problem. It appears that my wand and Harry Potter's wand share the same core." Exclamation mark. In some ways they are considered twins. We can wound each other but we can't cause any deadly harm. Exclamation mark. So who among you wants the honor of allowing me to use their wand? Question mark. The group nervously stirs. Voldemort says, "None of you." "How about you, Lucius?" "Lucius, my lord." Voldemort hisses and says, "I require your wand, Lucius." Exclamation mark. Lucius says, "Yes, my lord." He hands him the wand. Now with Harry at private drive. Dudley nervously says, "Did I hear Dad say that man that gave me the tail will be coming here?" Harry says, "No big D, he won't be coming here." Dudley says, "Well, that's good." He slams his bedroom shut. Harry says, "Boy, he sure is acting funny today." He walks into his room and lays down and falls asleep.